Hello, everyone who's here. My first time doing a live stream. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm just going to pretty much be working on projects. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. Currently, I'm working on Fusion right now. I'm working on a crawler system because I want a robot that can crawl. I don't think I have one of those yet. So I am trying to comfortably build a crawler system, kind of. All right. So this is using a quad system for crawling, which is going to be pretty cool. I'm really hoping that turns out to be really, really awesome and stuff. This is more like a figuring out the design patterns for everything, because this is how it's probably going to like work. There's actually another design from Digit that I'm using as a middle area. But so far, so good. So hello, everyone who's joining. Hello. Nice to see everyone, even though I'm not actually seeing you. But, it's a thought that counts. And I appreciate your patronage. Yeah, let's quickly. Oop, that's too much. Yeah. In theory, this should work, at least for a test setup. It looks pretty good, but I still don't really know how high the feet and stuff are going to go up. I don't really understand how high this can go up. But we'll see. That's what we're here for. We're here to figure this out together. Let's see. Probably going to have to move that over a bit more. I have some parts already printed out. Here, let me show you. So I have some of the parts printed out already for this, at least the feet part. I haven't just really started it as of yet, but I'm working on it. We're working on it. It's slow and steady. I think the idea for this is probably going to be for a future Digit because, yeah, as people know, I love my little guy. Like, my little guy is like my best. It's my best buddy. But it has to be flexible for the fact that it shapes around my shoulder, which makes it wearable in the first place. And to make something crawl, you kind of have to make it kind of hard, like tough for it to actually hold itself up and crawl around. So I'm hoping this is what it eventually turns into. And for people wondering, if you are wondering, don't worry. I am working on a drone system. I will have that together soon, hopefully. But I'm waiting for parts first. Digit is my wearable robot, if you didn't know. As you can see right here, I have a few different digits. I technically have 3. This is my nano digit for live streams. But the idea I had was having a robot best friend that I could take with me places and, wear it with me, just have a wearable best friend. The last few digits I've been focusing on making the AI system in it. That way it can actually talk to me and actually have a type of communicative process, because I do talk to myself a lot, extremely talk to myself a lot. But with this, it makes me a little less crazy. Plus, it's a cool concept. Who doesn't want a robot best friend? Okay, I'm trying to screw in the servo really quickly. Even though I'm using the wrong servos for this design, but we'll make it work. So yeah, that's what I'm currently working on, trying to do my best to do. If you have any questions, the chat's open. Please ask me any questions that you might have. I will happily do my best to answer them. I like to point out that I'm not very overly technical for the fact that I'm self-taught. So, I try to bring a little artistic flair to it all. Give me a second. This is actually pretty tough. This thing does not have the right holes designed into it because it was built for a different servo. So, fun trick, which is a thing I like to do sometimes, depending on the part, is I drill a little hole where the area is supposed to be, which makes it easier to screw in later. So now that I see where that is, I'm going to take this treadmill, very low setting, and There. That way I can get in there and put the screw in. So, little stuff. This is all just prototyping too, by the way. Like everything that I'm doing wrong here that I see issues with, I will be fixing in the Fusion 360 file. Yeah, I want wearable robots to become more of a thing, but like the thing about that, I really want it to be more custom for individuals. And what I mean by that, I don't want everyone wearing a version of Digit because that's very corporate, but I want to see your own personality built into it. Like a friend of mine did an owl, which I think is extremely cool. I've seen other people who done like more R2 like designs. Like I want to see what design a person would want to wear for them. Like, you know, make it your favorite animal, your favorite bug. I'm a bug fan. I think bugs have the best designs. But, you know, you can do your own thing with it. Plus, they can be used for different things. One of the concepts I have for Digit is eventually adding a sensor to it that can link up to like your watch or whatever to like, you know, monitor your health stuff. And then if something were to happen, you know, your robot can alert someone near you, or it can alert you like, hey, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that. Kind of like how your cell phone works, but like wearable form, because we already have enough screen time as it is. Like I try to put my cell phone away from me when I'm working. So that's just an idea. Rusty from Rivets? I don't think I've seen that before. Maybe I'm showing my age. Okay, I need to grab some screws really quickly. I need to check the file. Give me 1 second. I'm going to build the Fusion one. Oops. That way I can kind of see. Okay, so it's the big part that goes into the down area. Oh, okay, okay. I have to double check for that. Let me grab some screws. Where's my screw? Oh, there it is. 3mm screws, because I am a 3mm fan when it comes to screws. So my favorite millimeter for it. Bubble design, bubble design. Oh, the owl one that I did a while back. Yeah, I remember that one. That was that long ago? I don't think it was that long ago. But yeah, this is just yeah, but I'm not sure. Oh, it's on Paramount. Okay, I'll make sure I'll take a look into that. Being self-taught was fun. Because these people like asking about that. Being self-taught is definitely it's weird because I really don't know how to explain it very well because it's something that I just jumped into. I was in art school. Art school was hard. It was tough. I was stressed, and I needed a new stress reliever. So I went to robotics, and ironically, I kind of loved it. I was able to fail without having so much weight upon it compared to like being in school. And when you mess up in school, you know, that's a grade, and it's a whole bunch of stress. But I was just playing around, and it was just things were just happening. Okay, that one is fun. Okay, so book recommendations are hard for me because it really depends on what you're trying to do. But first, I would say Make Magazine's one of the good resources. I use them a lot. I have a lot of their like books. Like like I said, I'm planning to make a drone later, and I literally let me put it down here. I have it under my desk. I have a Make Drones book. Perfect for just starting out for your projects. So I would say definitely something along those lines. Find out what you want to build first, and then you can kind of find a book about it. So if you want to build robots, just find a easy concept on making things move, and then you can like expand upon that. One of the best resources I definitely will say is YouTube and the internet, Instagram, whatever you can find educational services or anything that can teach you. You can find stuff for it. But then eventually you'll just get to a point where you just find yourself adding on to stuff you already know. Like if you know how to build this and this, then you can add on to this. So things like that. there's ways to work around all this type of different stuff. And also too, if you want to stay inspired, I don't do a lot of cosplay stuff because I don't like to cosplay, but I know a lot of people like to link up with their fandoms, and that's another way to keep you motivated to work on projects. So if you like have a series in mind or like a concept from a thing you want to see like real, or you want to build it, that's another easy way to keep yourself motivated and have fun while building it. Or I have a whole thing with the tweezers and stuff because this is a very small pocket I'm trying to screw this in. So like that's another way of doing it. I think it's amazing when it comes to stuff like that and inspiring people to build stuff. Uh, I'm not sure if I myself am a teacher material because teaching is a lot of patience and stuff like that, but I do love to inspire people. So I think that's why I try to do most and foremost with all my work and my projects, just to allow anyone to pick up a book and teach themselves and be inspired by doing stuff. But definitely one of the best resources is definitely like Make Magazine books, library books, YouTube people, of course. If you're just getting started out, I definitely recommend like Becky Stern's videos because she tells you the basics. And trust me, you want to know the basics. I've blown up a lot of things. Ironically, one of my weakest subjects recently I realized was electrical engineering. The bigger my robots kept getting, the more problems I was having. And one of the biggest things was I didn't have a full understanding about current and having that work with things. And with my newest robot, if you've been following me, has been Orbit. So that was the whole thing of I accidentally blew out his motor controller because I had the wrong current and I had the wrong gauge wire for it. So the wire got overly heated and it was a whole thing. Oh, for any new viewers jumping in, I'm working on a crawler system right now. I'll show the file again. Like keeps happening. Oh, there it is. This is what I'm currently working on. It's going to be a crawler system for a robot to crawl on the ground and like move around. This is probably going to be an upgrade for Digit in the future, but I'm just testing out ideas right now. So that's what I'm currently working on. So that's what I'm screwing in and like assembling pretty much right now. That's why you see all the screws and stuff here. Yeah. Yeah. I do try to post daily. That is something I did. I am better now. I was sick for like a day. I kind of overdid it for a while. I stayed up all night working on Orbit to get his motor control working and getting the treads done because I was in such a rush to get the treads done. So I didn't sleep at all on, what was that, Saturday night. And then on Sunday, I went to play D&D with some friends. And by the time Monday came, I felt weird and I had a fever. So take well. I mean, sometimes it's too much gym, sometimes it's not enough gym. Here's the thing. I personally don't like going to the gym. I'm not trying to get buff for any other reason than to keep myself healthy and to keep wearing my robots. Because I haven't shown it yet. I've pretty much finished Digit 06, but it's my biggest version of Digit. It's kind of heavy. I haven't weighed it yet. But the bigger my robots get, the heavier they're going to get. So that's why I have to go to the gym now in the morning. I've been doing my best to like do a lot more weightlifting and things upon that line because robots are heavy, man. Robots are heavy. Okay, we're doing pretty good right now. Making some good time. Admittedly, I was super nervous to do a live stream because I've never done like a live stream by myself. Usually this part of the process, in my opinion, is super boring. But at the same time, it's fun for people to see like how I work. Because a lot of it, since a lot of the stuff is me just prototyping and just testing stuff, like see like now we have like a prototype version of the foot. Oops, something just slipped out. I'll have to point out these are just simple screws. I'm not trying to like make anything too big or too crazy. I'm just making it enough where it can hold. My favorite hacks and tools. I have a few hacks that I'll probably show later today. I have different ways of doing things. My favorite tools is definitely my screwdriver, my electric screwdriver, because it's just perfect. That and I have a weird thing with magnets. I love magnets. I I try to implement them in almost everything now. All my robots now have a thing. My specialty, me personally, I say my specialty is definitely more. That's a good question. What is my specialty? Huh? Because when you get into robotics, you kind of play around with everything, like programming. Then you have materials. I would have to say my specialty is a lot more. What would you call it? Mechanics. I guess mechanical engineer is where I'm best at. But I try to do a little bit of everything. Plus, I do my best to make it a little bit more artsy because I like things to look good when I build them. Like I live in a sci-fi world in my head, and I do my best to like show that. Uh, magnets work in a very fun way. I'm just going to say science because, to be honest, I don't have the knowledge to break it down, atom by atom. But they're fun, and I always keep a whole bunch of them like near me. Like I have one like right here that I can just use to like quickly pick up stuff, which is like very fun. But yeah, I'm gonna test this foot now. So this is one of my. I use this controller. This is an Arduino BLE 33 cents with a personal custom board. I'm just using this to test this foot really quickly. I already have a code put into it for a servo movement, so this should be a fun little quick test to see if this actually works. And by works, I mean just moves. If I can get it moving up and down to a certain extent. Because we're not coding today, because coding is. Let's see. Aha! So it does work. Somewhat. Oh, okay, it works a lot. So like this is good because it shows me like how far I can like go up and down. One of the things about this is that if I turn it into a version of Digit, it's gonna have to have the feet way up because I don't want it to like, not be able to feel my shoulder anymore. So this is good. This is good. My job title at DigiKey is technically a technical influencer. So pretty much I am part of the marketing team, which is very fun because we get to work on projects like this to show people, inspire people. We get to have conversations about what's going on, what other people are working on. Personally, I love my job. Like it is literally my dream job. I found out my dream job exists around 2018. And luckily DigiKey just had a spot open and they're like, oh, we'll bring you on. And I was like, thank you. And so far I've been working there for about 2-3 years. And I've been loving it. Like honestly, I've been loving every second of it. I love waking up in the morning and being able to work on stuff. My coworkers are pretty awesome. Yeah, I have no like real complaints when it comes to my job currently. My educational background is all in art. So I went to the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, and I studied illustration. I was trying to be a comic book artist because I loved comic books. Like I was like, I want to be part of Marvel and DC and build comic books. But around my junior year, I realized that's not what I wanted to do, so I stopped doing it. I graduated, of course. I finished with school and graduated, but like I never like applied to an art job or anything like that after that. Cool. I'm working on a crawler mechanism for my robot. I'm going to pull up the Fusion 360 file again, so you can see right here is what I currently built. There's these 4 parts. So how this works is there's a servo that goes here to move this up and down, and then there's another servo that'll go down here to move it back and forth. So everything, this is kind of like how it would be at a 90-degree angle, and then I guess this would be like moving it from 0 to 180 all the way down. That's what I'm currently working on. I just finished putting one of the feet together. You can kind of like see it here. And if I turn on the battery, you can see it move a bit. This is one of my crawler ideas. I have another crawler idea as well for later, which is using one of these kits that we have. Crawlers. There's something called the clan mechanism. Not a fan of the name, but it is what it is. But I really wanted to make something that can crawl because making things roll is really easy. Like once you understand wheel concept and tracks and stuff, you can easily make something roll. But making something crawl is a lot different, yeah, and more difficult for the fact that it has to do like a heel toe, heel toe, heel toe type of thing. So you have to program the motion a lot more easier. This is pretty simple because this is just using one simple gear system, which is like touching and connecting. And then when you rotate one, the legs start moving. So it's a lot more simpler as a crawling mechanism compared to making something like a hexapod, which is a lot more difficult to put together. But I've never built a hexapod, so I really want to do that. So that's why I'm currently working on that. Where did I pick up my CAD skills? Okay, so funny thing about that, self-taught part coming back in. Back in art school, we had, of course, you have your school email, and Fusion 360 at the time, this is back I want to say 2015, 2016, sometime around there. Fusion 360 had a thing where you can put your school email in and use Fusion for free. So I was like, cool, I'll do that. And that's when I started teaching myself Fusion. I was just making stuff. I was just building blocks and circles and things like that. Eventually, I got really good at doing other CAD skills, and I just improved. But then also they realized I was out of school and I have to start paying for the service now, so I pay for it. But it's all self-taught. Like CADing has been one of the most interesting parts of my thing. Here, let me put it up again. Here, let me show you guys because I'm not afraid to show some of my other designs. So this is one of my micro digit designs from when I built my main digit, which I call micro digit. Let load for a second. So yeah, this is like my micro digit design where I put together. It's not the best, like I said, I'm not the best at CADing, but like you can kind of like see all the parts when you click it. And you can kind of see how like I designed it, like the shell and stuff. And if you guys see my main digit that I usually am wearing, you see how it like looks exactly like this. Like the back panel here is where I keep the batteries and stuff. The shell I have kind of like the opacity is very low, that way I can like see through it. Then the head where the servo goes, it's all here. The antennae. I have a whole bunch of different designs too. Some of them I publish, some of them I don't. Some of them are just me messing around to see if something will work, but you know. It is what it is. What's that? Sorry, I'll just top down. But yeah, that's pretty much how I did that. But like I said, working on this, getting this together. I have another leg that's currently printing right now as well, and I'll be using that later as well to see if I can get this thing moving. Right now, I'm using a bamboo printer on it. Let me show you guys my printer. So currently, I'm using a bamboo printer, which is printing the parts for me right now. This is not a sponsor thing, but I freaking love it. I love using bamboo. Yeah, it's all 3D printed. I 3D print everything. Everything I do is all 3D printed. This little guy, which I adore, he let go of me. All 3D printed parts. Hold on, let me switch to my camera. So this guy is all 3D printed parts, like his entire thing, all 3D printed. There's a battery in here. You can see the battery because this is such a quick design and it's just for the live streams. He has a little touch sensor here so I can pet him and he looks super happy when I do that. But this is all 3D printed. Like once you get 3D printing, you can start manufacturing things a lot easier. And that makes it a lot more fun in my opinion. So yeah. But like I said, this one is just for when I'm doing lives. My other one moves around more, it does a lot more stuff. But it's also heavier and I didn't want to have to wear that for a live stream all day. It'll just be a lot more painful. So yeah. But 3D printing is definitely the way I like to go. Of course, 3D printing comes with different materials, so you can do a whole bunch of different material stuff. Also, if you're wondering how it stays on my shoulder, once again, the power of magnetisms. So I like design magnets into Digit's body. Like, these are all very high surface tension magnets, which is good and bad because on one hand, it sticks on my shoulder very well from something I designed to fit with the magnets, but also it's dangerous because like if I put anything near them, the magnets would just suck it up. Like I've had things go missing only to realize that they're actually stuck to my robot somewhere. One of the biggest challenges while learning how to make your robots and how do I overcome it? Biggest challenge is definitely, that's a hard one for the fact that, like I said, I love this. I love this so much that it's probably problematic in some areas. But the biggest problem I've had and had to overcome is always, I guess, asking for help. Because I'm such an individual who doesn't like asking for help unless I need the help. So something I had to get used to and had to learn was stopping to ask for help. Being like, hey, I'm not doing well. Can you help me with this design? That's the whole thing. And also not being afraid to mess up. You're going to mess up a lot. Trust me, if you're teaching yourself, you are going to mess up a lot. I have a fire extinguisher in the corner of the room because I have burnt things out. I have wired things wrong. I have broken parts. You just have to get comfortable with failure. Do I filament of my choosing? Yes. I used to use PLA a lot, but I use a lot more for TEG. Doesn't really matter the brand, more of the fact that I just like using that type of material. And TPU, like Digit's entire shell is all TPU, which is really good because Digit has fallen off me before, and I think because of the TPU shell, it's been able to like withstand the fall. But yeah, TPU, Pateg are like my two top ones. I want to use some other filaments later. Like there's one that has metal in it, and then that way it can be already magnetized. So I want to use that later on. And there's some that has like what's it called, copper filament and things like that. It's once you get into the material science of it all, it's crazy. So this is getting kind of more. Turn it off now. Okay, hold on. I think my printer just stopped. Hey Yeti, can you give me a quick pause so I can go pick up the part on my printer? Oh. All right, I'm back. I had to get the stuff off my printer and probably start another print for I can actually get the base done today. Hi, people from Spain. Give me a second. Boop. So next, I'm probably going to print out this part. Did I put it all in the same thing? I did. Okay. So out of laziness, I'm just going to turn these off and then just save this. Save this mesh, and boop, and save it to my downloads. Turn everything back on. This way I can start the print and we can have this part probably done pretty soon. This is not a big part. Like I said, this is all just test work, so it's not like that big of a deal. I'm not going to be really using these parts in the final design. I just want to make sure this actually works before I go into like making it really, really pretty. Because yeah, make sure it's like functional before you make it pretty, you know. Give me 1 second. I'm just adding supports, slicing this, printing it now. Boop. All right, it's finally printing. So my printer's restarting with the new bracket system, so I can like actually see if I can get the feet moving. All right, go back to top down. Yeah, TPU is definitely one of my favorite filaments. Like a tour of my shop. Maybe in the future, I have thought about it, but here's the thing: there's this weird concept that a lot of influencers are like super rich and have a huge house and stuff, that type of thing. I'm a gnome. Like it was pointed out to me on my Instagram recently. I am a gnome. I live in a very small place with my parts, and I'm happy with that. I may do a reel where I show you like my favorite parts and my tools and my desk area where I work. Um, I'll probably do something like that later in the day. I think that'd be a fun reel to do. So I guess sure, yeah. I mean, 3 millimeters is definitely my favorite go-to when it comes to screws, like a screwdriver, normal screwdriver. But of course, I have my soldering irons that are over here on the side. This back desk is where all my extra stuff goes. That's why this will never be clean, but it's also very labeled. Like, hold on, let me. Yeah, this back desk will never really be clean because this is where all my extra junk goes to. But also I have my labels over here. So like I have servos labeled, LEDs labeled. Like I have a lot of labeled stuff, but like also it's one of those situations where like my main desk is where I work, and my side desk over here was where all my junk lives. It's just like screws, all that. It's just nightmarish. I would love to be a young Gandalf. That would be funny. I do have a bubble pipe, which I've been meaning to upgrade that soon too, but I've just been too busy. I can definitely do that. Yeah, yeah. I may do that. I may do a reel with that because I do need to make some more reels. I also want to do more of my reels of talking about if we can make robots real. My next one I really want to do is probably going to be from the movie The Wild Ones. Um, this robot called Roz. I've been obsessed with it because it's like a mom robot, and I love that concept. So I've been looking into that to see if we can make that real next, which is going to be really, really fun. Um, so there's other robots too. I'm not trying to jump into any of the Star Wars robots yet because Star Wars scares me, but there are also other robots that I want to give like more hype to. So we'll be looking more into those before I start jumping into the Star Wars robots because we've seen a lot of R2D2s, and I'm not sure how well they would work. I mean, we could build one, but I'm not sure how well they would work in space on a ship to like hop out and repair stuff. But if we ever get to the point where I can have my own astromech, which technically orbit is very astromechy, um, we'll get to that. See, Johnny Five is so interesting because like I watched Johnny Five movies again recently. The first one is great. The first one's a classic. Like I need to have the physical copy of Johnny Five because it's that good. Um, and physically, you can build a Johnny Five, especially with today's technology and the AI systems that we have. You can totally make Johnny Five work. The only issue that we still have is the concept of personality. So I've been working on programming a personality by adding quirks and things that you don't wouldn't recognize outside of a real individual, which is good. But Johnny Five is on a whole another level. Like looking at him and thinking about it now, I feel like Johnny Five has autism because he's so awkward about stuff. It's just hilarious to watch him. It's fun. It's great. It's 110% the one. Plus, there's a guy I believe I've seen one I think on TikTok before. Uh, yeah, it's amazing. People who are just joining now, so you know that I'm working on a crawler system for a new version of Digit in the future. I'll pull it up really quickly again. So there's this foot. I'm printing out the parts right now. Um, and from top down, as you can see, I have one of the feet already done. I'm working on a second one right now. We can have the feet, and then the body will come. It's printing right now, and then I can like see if I can actually somewhat make this thing crawl. Because if I can, then I can upgrade this guy later. Yes, yes, you. And then make him crawl in the future. See, here's the thing. I started collecting my DVDs and stuff more recently for the fact that streaming services have been weird. So I've been very much on that whole thing. Also, fun fact, something I like to do, and I do have these. These are sculpting tools that I just had from my old art days. And some of these are really good at taking parts off of supports off of parts. You can just reach in there and pull them off. But these are like the metal ones, so like fun little thing, you know. I just happen to have these from my art school days because they made us take a sculpting class, which was very fun, but at the same time extremely messy. And I didn't know what to do with my sculpt afterwards, so I think I gave it to my parents. I think they have it somewhere, probably sitting in a closet. I had to sculpt a foot, an ear, and a face, and I just sculpted an average human face, so it was nothing that cool. But this is perfect for like just reaching in there and like popping out the supports, because I always print supports on unless told absolutely not, because I'm that paranoid still when it comes to printing stuff. Because like even right now with this feed being like this is PLA I printed out on, I can already tell that making this out of TPU would probably be better if I make it out of TPU and then I take something like there's that rubber there's a type of rubber solution you can use to like add grip to things. I forgot what it's called top of my head right now. Look it up later. But that's with this being out of TPU would probably be a better foot compared to making it completely out of PLA. So yeah. So that's just all I'm currently working on. And of course, if you haven't seen my other stuff, I finished Orbit recently. So yeah. Yeah, I feel like, see, here's the thing. I have a weird relationship with AI because I like the concept of AI because it's becoming closer to that point of sci-fi where we can have these robot friends and these companions, and these assistants. The problem with it is people are trying to monetize it just to make money extremely fast and extremely without cutting out the human aspect. But at the end of the day, we're still human. We still like to talk to other humans, even if they're like, you know, not really there. Like I'm talking to you guys and you're all in different places around the world and doing your own thing right now. But here I am chatting with you. And even if you have like an AI thing, like it just wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the same. Bambi's new water supporters are yes, I've heard about that. I just haven't had a chance to use it. At least how I like to work, I'm very much like hyper focused on one project at a time. I have a hard time hyper focusing on like multiple things. Like one of the reasons I was having a hard time with Orbit is because I was focusing on Digit. So I kept jumping back and forth, being like, oh, I want to work on Orbit today, but now I'm like, oh, I have an idea for Digit. Maybe I'll this thing for Digit. Oh wait, I can do this. So I get scatterbrained, so it's easier for me to hyper focus on one project at a time, and then I'll go from there. Hi from Portland, Oregon. Probably gonna have to move that closer. I can probably do that a little later. But yeah, what I'm doing right now with my hands is just taking apart the thing. Sorry, I know I'm still working on camera angles, guys, but sadly, I don't think I can move that one just yet. I'm gonna have to do some stuff with that angle. But yeah, I know, seeing my huge weird desk, it looks bigger than it actually really is, if you believe it or not. But yeah, I'm just ripping off supports on parts. That's all I'm doing right now. And answering your questions. Hello from Portland, Oregon. Have I been to Oregon? I don't think I've been to Oregon yet. Like I want to travel more this year to go to more like maker events, but I gotta see. Yeah, some of the internal supports are very like annoying. Bamboo does a really good job with their support system. So does the Pruzas I have do very good with their support system as well. But other than that, like it's just nice to have just in case some of the things come out weirdly. I do like using heated inserts as well. Does DK sell this mat? I am unsure. This mat was a gift a long time ago. I had a black one. But the problem with the black one is like I print a lot of my parts in black, so I kept losing stuff. So that's why I had to switch over to green. So that's the whole thing. 1 second, peoples. If DK has a map, I'm pretty sure they'll post it. I can probably look into that later for you. Honestly, a red mat wouldn't be too bad with this because I don't have that many red parts. Here's a little thing. You should definitely think about when you're working on stuff what color the mat should be compared to what you're actually like working on, for the fact that, like I said, I was losing parts when the black one was happening. Open DOS. Oh, open sauce. Yeah, I'm going to open sauce this year. Excited for it. Honestly am. There's a whole bunch of cool people coming so far. I love the event. It's super fun. Get to talk to people, make friends, get to interact with you guys, which I will be out and about wearing my robot. And honestly, I got stickers and stuff made recently as well. I've been testing them, so I'm hoping to find people and friends and fans and people who've made their own wearables. I ran into, I believe, 3 people last year who had their own wearable robot, and it made me so happy. So if you're at Open Sauce coming in July and you have a wearable robot, please find me or like tag me or mention me and I will find you. Like, I want to see more people make wearable robots. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. A whole bunch of cool people are coming down. Gonna have a whole bunch of cool talks, games. I don't really know what my entire schedule is going to be for Open Sauce. Last year they had me, DJ, and Michael doing it. Oh, it's Becky. Hi, Becky. The stream is being broadcast, I believe, on YouTube, Instagram, and some other places as well. Yeah, I saw that. Kira made this amazing like Pikachu. Like, if you guys haven't watched her video, please go look it up. It's amazing. I love it. It's super cool. But it has the same problem when it comes to wearability because it's so big. And I've run into that problem a while ago with my robot monkey I built a while ago, Dexter. Because Dexter was super huge, it was hard to wear. So when you're designing wearables, you have to think about where you're going to wear it and how you're going to wear it. If it's really big, like the Pikachu thing, you need something like a backpack harness that can like have the Pikachu peek over the back of your shoulder, compared to Digit here, which is, oh, did you turn off? Compared to Digit here, which rolls around my shoulder. Yeah. Oh, button, press button. See, Digit wraps around my shoulder, which is like nice. You have to just do that. If it's bigger, it's gonna have a hard time doing that. So you have to like have like a backpack thing and have it like lean over a bit to like look over your shoulder and being able to do that. But definitely watch the video. If you're a big fan of Pokemon, which a lot of people are, I'm more of a Digimon fan myself, but I respect Pokemon regardless. They did an amazing job building that Pikachu. Like, I love the video. I've watched it a few times. The process is fun. And seeing what probably is the closest thing out of an not a CGI Pikachu, amazing. Though I would love to see if, well, I don't know. So I was just thinking, like, Pikachu can charge things in the show sometimes using the electrical current. It'd be kind of fun to add like a positive and negative terminal to Pikachu's cheeks and having a way you can like clip something on and then like charge it using the robot Pikachu. Sorry, I'm just going on a tangent at this point. Sorry. For people who are just joining me, I'm working on a robot foot for a new crawler robot for the future, for a version of Digit maybe, or a new robot. I haven't decided yet. So far I got 1 foot done, which I will happily show again. Got 1 foot done, looks really nice. Does move decently well. It goes up, down, everything we needed to do. I was really testing to see how high it can go, because if I end up turning it into a wearable, it needs to be like really high up for it to still be a wearable. But the fusion file is I'll show you right here. This is the fusion file of it. I've been working on it. I'm printing out the parts now. That's pretty much what my goal was for today, was to just start working on this. I do plan to work on a drone later. I have a drone concept I'm going to be doing pretty soon. The drone one is going to be cool, but I want the drone to look like a bee. So I'm like reading up and getting the parts for that. I got a friend who donated me an old drone parts, which is really good. Freaking love it. But every project comes little by little. You gotta just do your thing. And then of course I have Orbit over there too, but I have to do a lot more with that big robot. So I have 3 main robot projects currently. And then I have some smaller like stuff I want to do later. There's a mask I want to build later. just for kicks and giggles, like a sci-fi mask. I want to update my bubble pipe. I'm not sure if you've seen my old stuff, but I have built a bubble pipe in the past, and it's one of my favorite little like things. I've designed a way to make it smaller, but we'll see about that. That may take a lot more time than I have right now. But yeah. Hello from everyone across the world who are currently watching. Appreciates the interactions, because admittedly, super nervous about doing this. This is actually my first time doing a live by myself. I usually get dragged into other people's lives. So like someone else is hosting, then I'll just come and hang out. But this is my first time doing it myself. So thanks for the support. Sorry, I'm having some small issues getting this piece out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, working on crawler feet. Probably going to mess with the CAD system in a second. Give me a second. I just want to get this small piece out first, and then I'll switch over to Fusion and show you guys some stuff as we wait for parts to print and stuff. Okay. We're hoping to put ours in a cross body strap or from Star Trek. That could work too, yeah. Body straps are another good way to make a wearable work. I've done that as well. I pretty much tried almost every way to make a wearable robot work. I've done body straps. I've done GoPro straps. I've done custom bags, backpacks. I've done all that before, but literally, I would say my Magnet one is my favorite because it's comfortable, even though I have to like wear a custom vest system to make it really work, which is totally fine. But it just looks the best in my opinion, and it's like it hangs on really well. It's really nice. So the motors of the bots, I'm thinking about making it like a hexapod, so it'll probably have 6 motors, like so it'll have like 6 legs, which each one of the motors will be 2, so 2, 4, 6. About 8 or so. What you do? I build robots and make content out of building those robots, which is very fun. It's very fun. I say the hardest part of my job sometimes is when I'm looking for a project and having to figure things out. So a good example of that. Sorry, I'm getting pulled everywhere. A good example of that is sometimes like a lot of people use this. This is a DF robot L298 dash-in motor driver, which this is what I was using originally for Orbit's drive system, my big robot. I found out that this doesn't give enough amps to the motors to make it actually drive fast. So I used something with more, and I ended up burning out one of these and another one because it wasn't giving enough power, and that ends up happening a lot, and I have to like learn that. Sometimes I'm working on other stuff I have to work on and things happen. It's a whole bunch of just me learning how things work and testing things and trying to make them into cool projects. For anyone who's just showing up, I am working on a crawler system for Digit. Let me pull up to my Fusion. So this is just one of the legs I'm working on. I'm hoping that it could be a future Digit that can probably crawl on the floor, but I have to like play around with it a little bit more still. And for people who also has just got here too, I want to see, this is my micro Digit, the one that I usually wear, the one that got really big, went to SuperCon with. This is its Fusion design file. I'm still working on it because I still things I want to edit and stuff, but I always start new files and working on like a different Digit project. But I'm off Fusion 360. That's how I work. Right now, we're working on the crawler system. I have 1 foot already done, putting a 2nd foot now. So yeah, that's what we are doing today, class. Also, ask questions, because if you ever want to ask questions, this is Digit. People who just joined in. It's my little wearable robot. Hangs out on my shoulder. Super cute. Touch sensors. This one's my micro one, though. I have another one that's over there. If people want to see that one, I'll show you that one. But, you know, so many. I do. This is actually one of the controllers I use. This is a test one that I put together using Arduino BLE 33 cents. I'm sorry, it's a whole bunch of wires because it's a mess. But this is an Arduino Nano BLE 33 cents V2 board because it has a whole bunch of built-in sensors. So I use this, but I use C++ and Arduino constantly. This is one that was inside one of my older digits. Now I use it to test stuff. So since it has this breadboard I put together is a custom breadboard, but it has 5 servo ports that I can easily just attach to, and I use it to test servos now. So a good example, I was showing people earlier, I can use it to test this foot by turning on the power, and got a basic foot motion from the servo. But it just moves things up and down. Like it's just, I think it's from 90 to 180. I think I don't think I have it set to 0. But yeah. Also, fun fact: depending on what you're working on, definitely make sure you know which servo motors you're using. I had to order more Metal Gear servos because when you're using Metal Gear servos, if things have more weight or mass, Metal Gear servos are a better way to go because plastic gear servos will start breaking or struggling, and you can usually hear it. They usually make a sound, like a struggling sound, or you'll hear something snap, and then the thing won't move anymore. And that's because the gears broke. So, yeah. Arduino controllers is definitely what I use. I use Arduino. I use Python. Those are my I use a lot of Raspberry Pi stuff, so Python. But C++ and Python are my 2 programming languages that I know. Gonna be doing a lot more stuff with that too later in the future as well. Sorry, but yeah, that's how I usually do things, and also making a mess. Sorry for my mess. It's part of the process. You're going to be making messes. It's part of the process. For CAD software, I use Fusion 360, so I'm gonna put it up again because I like seeing it. Fusion 360 is my go-to. I taught myself how to use it back in college, and I could learn another CAD software because I know there's like a whole bunch of different CADing videos. I know my friend Sean, amazing guy on here. If you haven't seen his content, definitely did. He did a free CAD video system where he taught himself how to CAD, and he made videos of teaching you how to CAD. But Fusion has like a lot of my old files on here, so like even things I haven't even looked at in a long time, like over here in the corner. These are like so many old files. Like I have Orbit when I was just designing his head over here, and all these other stuff from my Pi deck, my bubble pipe. I have a whole bunch of just everything I designed at least one point has its own Fusion file. So I pay for the service now, but like I like to have all of this stuff. So if I ever need something, I can just pull it up and being like, oh, I designed this a while ago. Actually, since everyone's here, I can show you a fun one. Pull this up, let it load for a second. So this is Orbit's CAD file. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of it. I'm printing out this now. This is just a back piece to hold the battery. There's not much more room in here for me to stick stuff in there without me having to do some serious redesigning, and I don't want to redesign anymore. But yeah, so this is my baby. He's huge. Like if you haven't seen the video, he's like 3 feet tall, weighs 24 pounds. It's my biggest robot that I built thus far. But the thing about it that I like is I can upgrade stuff. So like these panels can easily come off, and I can put stuff inside of them, which I really enjoy. So like outside plates, boop. So like I can go in here later and then like mess with stuff. So like they have these like cup holder things here. So I plan to put like a actual cup holder design in it that can come up and down. That way I can have them bring me coffee and hold my drinks. But yeah, but back to the main question. Yeah, I'm working on the crawler system, and this is the file for the crawler system. I'm printing it out right now. Let's see if I can get to my printer really quickly. Apologize. Yeah, it's currently printing right now. So I'm printing on the Bamboo. That's the one I have right now. Pretty great. A hype robot's a good idea. I have thought about that a few times. I have people in my circle telling me to do it. I may actually do it. So here's the thing. I like to joke around about blaming people. So like if I'm on a call with some of my engineering friends that I'm getting help with and they're giving me like advice that doesn't work, I always blame them. So there's an internal joke that I should make a blame me robot. So like, it's just a robot that we blame for everything that goes wrong. So a hype robot could totally work for that too. Just it could definitely be really cool. Can it go upstairs? No, Orbit can't go upstairs. That's going to be the thing for right now. Uh, yes. Okay. So I named Orbit because I'm a big, my favorite, well, going back to the artist background here, because like people don't know, I'm also taught and I have an artist background. One thing I learned in art school is definitely aesthetic. So you have to have like an aesthetic to what you're building. So if you want something to look more cyberpunk, you give it a whole bunch of LEDs, like make it super smooth, make it super glowy, super fast. If you want something to be steampunk, gold, copper, you show the gears moving, and have smoke come out of it. Steampunk. My favorite genre of aesthetics right now is NASA punk. I like the concept of space. I like the concept of humanity, like just making space casual. Very much Starfield, very much Star Trek. A lot of stars in the title. It's really weird. So I built Orbit. I wanted Orbit to have a space-like name. So I thought of the name Orbit because like it sounds like a cool sci-fi space robot. Like, oh, where's Orbit? And it's this robot that just rolls around stuff. The main thing about Orbit that I enjoy too, that I really can't wait to like program and sit down with. I'm definitely gonna work on him having a personality. I haven't decided what personality I want to like try to program into them, but also the fact that it's so big allows me to easily expand upon it. So Orbit will be able to eventually, I'm gonna pull him up again because I just like looking at him. Hold on. The thing about Orbit that I enjoy the most is that because it's so big, I can infinitely expand upon them. I can add arms. I can add other gripping materials. I can change stuff out. Like if I decide the treads are too small, they're too small right now. These are all 3D printed. I can order some new treads later, redesign the chassis a bit, and then have them carry me maybe, or make it a way where I can ride them like a little scooter robot or something along those lines. Like that part makes me excited because I've made 3 different orbits. Like I've had 3 different versions of Orbit be made already in my career. V3 is just like the one I think is going to be lasting the longest. So it's going to be like 3.1 and I upgrade them to 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, etc. But it excites me about that because it can do so much. And mainly as well too, I do give talks to schools sometimes in the LA area. And one thing I've noticed is like high school and college kids like Digit. They'll love Digit. They're like, oh, it's a wearable robot, blah, blah, blah. But I've noticed middle school and under, when I give those talks, they do not care about this robot at all. They're just like, okay, it's wearable. But when I bring out robots like Orbit, or like robots that move around the floor and do the type of stuff, they go crazy. So Orbit's going to be like my class robot that if I have to go and show off a kid, middle school and like under, I'll bring Orbit with me and then I'll install like a bubble blower. He has a screen in the front, which I don't have a picture of it right now because I don't have a picture, but like this area here is designed to put a screen up. So like I have it set so when he's doing face tracking, you can actually see yourself on the screens. And I know kids will like love that because I'm like, oh my God, it's me, it's looking at me. And it does that whole thing. So I'm also working on later on getting the motor control to work with the AI system. Because right now I'm controlling the motor control with this controller. I have this feather board, which is controlling the controller. But eventually I want to add it for the AI to work with it. So it'll like keep a certain distance. And when people get too close, I can't decide between it following people, like it'll just start following you. So like imagine you're at a big event and like we're like walking around in the event hall or whatever. And then Orbit just manually just starts seeing a random individual and just starts following you. Just no reason, just following strangers just for kicks and giggles. Or another one where I make them a little bit more nervous. So instead of following people, what he'll end up doing, he'll be more afraid of people. So if people get a certain distance or get too close to him, he'll start backing up, or I'll have him like shake his wheels really fast, make him like he's scared, like he's like shivering, make him like give him personality, which is a big part of why I love robotics so much and what I do is because my whole goal is to make these robots seem less like robots and more like characters. Sorry, I went on a whole tangent with that. I apologize. I'm overly passionate. It happens. It happens. For everyone who's just joining, I'm currently working on this. Really, I'm trying to get these put together if I can make a crawler robot in the future. But I got pulled in talking about my newest robot, Orbit, and it just went crazy. Sorry. It went crazy. I apologize. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm warm now. I'm slightly embarrassed. But yeah, that's currently what's happening. Top down. But if you have any more questions, please ask them. I'm happy to answer any questions. This is why this is definitely office hours with me. So if you have any questions. How did you get going on Instagram? Instagram was easy for me for the fact that in college, one thing they taught us was not to have a website when you're doing art school stuff. They were like, hey, use Instagram. And the reason behind that is because when you go to parties or you start networking, they don't want to have to stop and look up your website on their phone. They wanted to go and have easy access like Instagram. And this is back in like 2014, 2015. So Instagram was like really big back then. This is before all the controversy and stuff now. Instagram was just like a thing everyone loved. So I had Instagram from that. And what ended up happening is, of course, I barely had any followers that were my friends. I stopped posting, I think around 2016. I started posting less art and more just 3D prints. So I was 3D printing stuff and 3D printing projects. But it wasn't until 2018 is where everything, turned off. 2018 where everything kind of changed. That was my first time making something really big. I made my first wearable robot, Aussie, which was a spider. And my friend at the time, he's still my friend. I haven't talked to him in a while. He's been busy having a life. He posted a video on Twitter, and I didn't have Twitter back then. And that was before, it's X now, but it was Twitter back then. So he posted that, and then that got really big, really fast. People were like, oh, where can I follow them? And then they went to my Instagram. So I started posting on Instagram now, and it's kind of my go-to platform. Like I have a TikTok, of course. I go to TikTok. I do that whole thing with TikTok, which is very fun. But my whole thing with TikTok is that it's a little bit more stress because people come and go. There's a lot more going on TikTok compared to Instagram, and I just have more familiarity with Instagram, so it's a lot easier for me to like post there and things along those natures. I am trying to do more with it too. Hey, Ghost Protocol, that's a cool name, Ghost Protocol. Where have I heard that from? They'll get back to me. But yeah, Instagram is definitely where I do the most work. I still try to make content everywhere else. I just recently restarted posting on Twitter again because I took a huge break from Twitter when it turned to X. I just started back into that one. That's a good one. I also have a Blue Sky and a Mastodon that I'm on there as well. So I try to be everywhere. YouTube though, YouTube you're gonna have to find me through DigiKey. This is how this works. Having my own YouTube channel stresses me out too much right now. So yeah. Do I use apps for your robots or apps related apps you manage? 50-50. I have a few apps that I use for my robots. I hook them up to Spotify a lot to make them play music sometimes. But I do have an app I'm working on with a friend, which will hopefully get done, and that one pretty much carries the AI systems. So originally, I designed an AI system with my friend Sean to work on the NVIDIA board, so we can just chat to it. So it can be your own portable chatbot. But that has advanced a lot since we made that. So what I do now is I have a cloud system that's connected to my phone, which I use to connect to Digit. That's how I talk to Digit now, at least the other Digit. This one doesn't have it installed. But I'm not the best at making app stuff, so this is where my other advice comes in, where it's like get help. Like if you know people and you know friends, like talk to them, befriend them, and get help from them. Because a lot of people will be there that you'll meet that will happily help you or at least steer you in the right direction. Thank you. So yeah, that's how that works. But I've only controlled when it comes to, I don't really like controlling my robots. Like I have like the controller system, like I said, from the Feather. But I personally don't like controlling my robots. I try to make them at least a little bit sentient, like let them do their own thing based off of sensors and things like that. I have a theory that I like to call the illusion of life. And it's pretty much the concept of when you let people watch your robots do stuff, even if they're moving randomly, your own brain will start like interpreting that as real life. So like if I took let's say a robot Wally with like no facial recognition or anything, it'll just start playing and start moving. You will instantly think like, oh, that's a robot, it's doing a thing. Or like if it just starts moving randomly and it like even somewhat looks at you, your brain will be like, oh, it can see me. So like I have a theory that if you just let a robot move randomly and just leave it there like an animatronic, people will instantly like give it personality. I do. I listen to other music or audiobooks. Those are like my two go-to when it comes to listening to stuff. I had a servo up here. Did I play some of this? It's one of my like go-to things. I have the I listen to a whole bunch of instrumentals from movies. So Indiana Jones, Matrix, Back to the Future. Like I have an entire like instrumental playlist for just movie stuff, which I like adore. And then also I can listen to audiobooks. So sometimes if I'm working on stuff, I'll listen to audiobooks. I just finished the Earth Shattered series, and right now I am listening to The Science of Storytelling. So this have a trash can behind me. I had a servo up here too, but I can't seem to find where I put it. Oh, there it is. Here it is. But yeah, I do prefer listening to music because I don't like silence, or I'll just talk to myself, which I know my neighbors probably think I'm insane. But yeah, that's how I work. And it's fun. It's great. Like you need motivation sometimes to get stuff done. Sometimes I have background stuff going on. Sometimes I like watch a person live stream, or I'll watch like a movie I've seen before because I don't want to watch anything that's new that I have to pay attention to because then it stops me from working. So I'll end up watching like The Matrix over and over again, or recently I've been rewatching Men in Black. So I'll have that in like the background because one, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen The Men in Black, why haven't you? Go watch the movie. But I will like listen to that and while I'm working on stuff. So something is always going on. I don't do complete silence unless I'm like sleeping or something else has happened. People who are just joining, I am working on a crawler robot system for Digit in the future. I'm just making the feet now just to test the feet, and I'm putting out a base right now as we talk that will hopefully be able to hold the feet, and we can see if I can test out some stuff. But we won't know until those parts are printed. Some folks will interact even when both batteries were drained. Yeah. Some people just interact with it. I think people like it. It's a whole thing. Me personally, I like my robots to like look super sci-fi, so that's why I do my best to design them not to be human shaped. I like bug shaped, or like some other mechanical like shape. Not a fan of the human based design robot. It's just not me. I like my robots to have their own easily built characteristics. The biggest setback I've ever had with a project, and how did I overcome it? Okay, that's a good question. Let's see. What was the biggest setback I ever had with a project? I think the biggest setback I can remember right now, because it's one of those situations that once you overcome something, you kind of forget what the main problem was. Has always been like me accidentally destroying parts. So when I was first getting started, I was working full time, had school full time, and all my money was going to school or just surviving on food and stuff. And I was in San Francisco, so like if you ever live in San Francisco, everything in San Francisco is expensive as hell. Like it's crazy expensive. So the hardest thing I ever had to do was be smart about my projects, because if something were to blow out or burn or get destroyed, I would have to wait until I can replace that part. So I guess the hardest setback I've ever really had, not for a project, but just in general, is like being able to afford parts. I think that's why now I'm a part goblin, because I've had too many situations where I've destroyed something by accident from like not knowing, or blew something out from like not knowing or whatever, and then having to like wait like a month later just to replace that one part because I couldn't afford it back then. And it's the biggest setback. But I think a lot of the setbacks now are just mainly like mental, I want to say. I think that's the hardest thing a lot of people have to like overcome when it comes to making stuff, is that it's hard to have something in your head and make it real. And the hardest setback you're going to have is when it doesn't come out the way you imagine. I feel like when it comes to like cosplay, sometimes it's a lot easier because you kind of have like a diagram of things. But like for me, I sketch out a lot of my designs, and then I have a lot of integrations that go through with a lot of changes. Because like Orbit, for a good example, here I can show you guys again with the Fusion file. Give me a second. The treads are new. Like the treads are brand new. Originally, he wasn't going to have these treads. Originally, I wanted him to have these wheels. These are the wheels that James Bruton designed, and I made my own custom design with them to make them fit on Orbit. But these wheels are not strong enough to move this body. Like it's designed for smaller stuff. I had these wheels work on smaller stuff, and it's perfectly fine. But I kept noticing it kept falling over, it kept tumbling. I kept having a whole bunch of just like breakage issues. People can contest to this because I had a few of my friends on a camera video call that had them watching me as I did this. I tested Orbit with all the new controller stuff working, and it fell over right away. The head fell off, parts broke. It was a whole thing. And I think that was the final straw that had me be like, all right, let's switch this to treads. But you have to get used to like iteration. Like you have to be like, all right, that didn't work, so let's do this. And this worked. It's pretty. It looks good. The video, it functions, and you just gotta accept that. That's the hardest part. That's definitely the hardest part, in my opinion. So, not everything is gonna work the way you want it to, and that's just how it is. Oh, someone points it out. Okay, so I'm gonna grab them really quickly. Give me 1 second. Yeti, do the thing. Okay. Okay. So fun story. This one I'm gonna put on my main camera. Let's see. Yeah. So this is another digit. This is like my main digit that I bring with me when I go out places. This one is good because it has multiple different sensors and servos and stuff. So like when I tilt it, the head tilts back to like fix it. So it also looks around too. Like it has a servo in the neck that allows it to like look around back and forth and stuff, which I really enjoy. So it has that. I took this one with me to SuperCon this past year, and I was having fun, and I had a small accident where I fell, and this fell with me, and this entire area broke. Like all of this area that's reprinted in Pateg, all of this broke. Literally all of this was just destroyed. So I stayed up. I went home. I left the party right after that. I went home and 3D printed all of this, and then I installed metal rods to keep it stronger. That way, if it falls again, that doesn't break. And ironically, the next day it fell again, but it didn't break. So the design specifics work. And like I like this so much too because I can easily like switch them out. So like if I want to, I can like take this one, pull them off. I'm gonna pull them over here for a second, and I can easily take this guy and then just slap them on, get them adjusted, and ta-da. But this one, like I said, is much bigger than my other digit. So like it works well. It's doing the balancing thing, and then it looks around a lot. But this is the one I usually have with in my videos that are talking and stuff because it's gonna have the talking system built in. So this is like my go-to digit. But it's a fun little story of how I break stuff and then spin up all night trying to fix it. It happens. So yeah. But the problem with this one is touch sensors and stuff still work too. Down here is a bad touch. It doesn't let me touch down there. Bad touch. Is that it's big. Like in comparison, like see, like this is like my entire arm for this guy. Compared to this version of him, which is a lot smaller. So like you can see the difference in the designs of digit. But this one is probably the one I'm going to be taking with me to like most events, and this one is just for on camera stuff because it's just too heavy to just keep it going. And the cool thing about this design that I love too, if I turn this off really quickly, I'll keep the eye on. He's foldable. So I usually carry them in my bag like this. I just fold them up and stick in my bag like that. It's perfect. But yeah. So I'll put you over here for right now. And put you back on my shoulder because you are lighter. And I don't want to have to put that. And yes, there are bloopers of Digit turning on and like hitting me in the face. That has happened before. If you wear a robot, just make sure where all the appendages are, because there's only a certain amount of times when your robot can smack you in the face, and then you take that personally, because it has happened a few times. All right, back to what I was originally working on, trying to screw this stuff in. But yeah, little tangent there about my favorite little buddy. Is this backwards? I think I may have done this backwards. I think I may have. Nope, wait, nope, maybe. I think I installed this backwards. Upside down. Oh, no, it's right. And just in the wrong area. Oh, I think I built this wrong. I think it's upside down. Wait, is it? No, it's not. I'm upside down. See, I get confused sometimes. I'm only still human for now. Things get really weird. For a second, I thought it was like the wrong one. But yeah, for anyone just joining, working on a crawler system for Digit. I've been talking about a whole bunch of random stuff, just trying to like hang out and get you guys to get to know me a little bit more. And then, like I said, if you have any questions, please ask them. I will admit I am really bad about checking my DMs. They make me nervous. I only seem very sociable on camera. I am extremely awkward and scared off camera. But if you have any questions, ask them in the live. I'll do my best to answer them. Also, if there's any other changes you guys would like, let me know. This is my first time doing this. I want to do this more and like talk to you guys while I work on stuff and do more live stream like stuff like this, just to get more of an interaction with you guys and to show you guys my process. So we are talking about doing more stuff. Fun fact, something I can just show right now since I don't feel like screwing this in right now. Give me 1 second. So I still draw stuff. So I have like my sketchbook. My sketchbook has a whole bunch of my notes. I end up going through a sketchbook. I wait until it's always filled, but this is just like my top ones. Also, if you don't know, I will be going to Maker Faire, Open Source, and I am going to Neotropolis too for the first time. It's happening. But like, this is how I usually go through a lot of my notes and things like that. I write down everything as I can. I draw up ideas, things along those lines. Also, if we continue to do this, is there a better time you guys would prefer? Like, if you want us to do this at a different time, we can look into that. Like different day of the week, because I know Friday a lot of people just want to like get off of work and just go home. So if you have a better thing than Friday, definitely let us know. But yeah, so like just showing you examples of my sketchbook. I have a page. Usually these are like labeled for different pages. So like this one is for a decimal project I did a while back, which is like a low controller robot I built. Took notes there. This is like Digit's like pull-out system or pin-out system. That way I know which system is which. Other ideas, designs I put down. I had one page for Orbit recently. Where is it? Here we go. So like, I printed out a picture of Orbit, and then like I'll like take notes and like change stuff up. So if something were to happen, I can easily go back and look into it in Sketchbook. But yeah. Like I said, all self-taught. This is how I originally taught myself. Went through a sketchbook, started reading everything online, messing a lot of stuff up. Like a lot of my projects originally blew up. And then I just kept going, man. Found maker spaces. I kept working on stuff, different mechanisms, designs. I do my best to just keep teaching myself. And being self-taught gave me a level of freedom, because I feel like when you go to school, like they give you like a whole layout of things you have to do, but like using I'm very much the type of individual who likes to just, work on stuff, build stuff. See, what would you recommend in this profession? Would I recommend this profession? Yes. But that's a hard one. See, here's the thing. I love making robots. Like that's my go-to thing daily. um, if you want to do a career, like if you want to make robots for a career, there's a few things you have to like understand. One, there's a lot of people in your field. There's an ocean of people who have went to MIT and all these other big schools and these type of things, and you have to figure out why you want to do that and what makes you you. So for, like I said, if you're self-learning and you're just starting off, I definitely recommend Becky. Becky Stern's videos are very great for starting off with basics. For programming, let's be real, anything with Sean on it, because I feel like every time I look up any type of programming thing I have a problem with, you can just find Sean. Admittedly, ChatGPT is a very good resource. It can get you like 80% of the way there, but don't overly rely on it, because I've had ChatGPT help me with my code, and it has totally butchered my code before. It's totally like gotten rid of things and messed things up. So I guess get pretty good at prompt engineering if you know what that is. Will be great. Monday inspiration or interaction, but the times are great. Okay, so maybe try Monday in the future and see how Monday goes. Let's see, where else were we going with this? Where do you see this field going in 5 to 10 years? AI, blah, blah, blah. That's a good question. I'm not really sure. I can see where I can be in that situation, but the future is muddled with situations that are above me and above my pay grade. But I hope to see it become more casual and not being used to get people out of a job. So I'm hoping that the future of robotics and AI and things like that just gives people the resources to learn. Like being self-taught, first of all, I feel like it says a lot of mental gymnastics. You have to kind of like accept that you don't know everything, and you probably never will know everything, but that's okay. It's okay to just have fun and just do stuff. So like I always tell people to start off small, like start off with just making a servo move, not having it attached to a sensor or anything like that. Get an Arduino board, a servo, you can power a 5-volt servo from the Arduino board and get it to just do the basic sweep. If you can understand that, then you can understand how other things move, and you can go from there. But then it's also built upon that. You use Fusion to design mechanisms. So like you can find all the mechanisms you want on the internet, like 507. There's a book, I think it's called 507 Mechanisms. I forget who wrote it, but it's a very good book. It's amazing for figuring out what type of mechanisms you want to use for like making a linear motion or a forward and back motion. Like motion of the ocean of the mechanics is how you can get a really good robot. And then from that, you go from design purpose from this, and this one goes in the artist part. So you want your robot to look cool. You don't want it to just have a whole bunch of wires hanging out and things like that. So I recommend art books. Like there's a whole bunch of cool movies and video games. Grab the art book. Star Wars has a whole bunch of them. Like I mentioned, I didn't want to mention Star Wars, but I'm going to. Star Wars has like a lot of great art books you can look into and seeing how you can design those elements into your robot and make it look like you can do more. To give your yes. Make sure that your ChatGPT is keeping certain things memorized. So like I've learned a lot from using ChatGPT about prompt engineering, and what that means is making sure what you're telling the GPT system is what you really want it to keep. So example, if I'm coding something, I'm like, hey, help me with this code, or how I do it, at least this is how I break it down. One, I do the explain this code. So I'll take my code, I'll give it to ChatGPT, and I'll make it break down my code portion by portion. That way I know ChatGPT understands my code. Once I know it understands my code, then we go from there. I can say like, hey, I like this code. Can we edit this or this? Or I want this code to react differently. Let's keep the, let's say, angles of the servos. Like if the angle of the servo is 90 degrees and it starts up at 90 degrees, I want to make sure to put in ChatGPT, keep all servo angles at 90 degrees for startup, and then edit whatever I wanted to edit. So when you're going through ChatGPT and you're editing code and you're doing stuff like that, you have to make sure it's keeping the, I want to say the numbers, like keeping the numbers correctly. Because ChatGPT will change stuff, and if you're not very specific and direct about what you want and what you don't want, it will edit the code to a point where it's unrecognizable or it won't work anymore. I've had my own experience with ChatGPT, not saying it's a bad thing. Like I said before, it gets you 80% of the way there. But I have had issues where it completely rewrote my code and things were missing and it just didn't work anymore. And then I would be like, hey, what happened to the code? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I blah, 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 blah. And they'll give me the whole thing again. But so be very careful when using it and just being very careful of what you say and making sure that it's keeping up with you. It's like, it's very micromanaging, but like it's the only way I can work with ChatGPT. For people asking what programming languages I use C++ and Python. They're the only two languages I know right now. I may learn Java in the future for like web stuff, but those are the only two that I know currently. But yeah, happily answering your questions that we got going. Let's see how my printer is going, actually. Give me a second. Okay, my printer's going pretty good. I'm using just currently PLA to print this out on my Bamboo printer. But this will be the main bracket. I mean, I have the name of left bracket. This will be the main bracket to the whole system. So like this. So that will be technically this part, this middle part here that I'm printing out. Get back to the screwing in these screws. Do I use Raspberry Pi or Arduino? Yes, I use both of those. So depending on the project, and this is very important when it comes to like project stuff, you have to constantly think what, well, I guess you have to break it down first. First think, what do you want your project to do? What do you want it to do? And then you can look up the board that can get you close to that. So the reason why I originally chose the Arduino BLE3326, or the Arduino Nano, the reason why I chose this one originally was the fact that it has a built-in accelerometer system. That way my robot can like tilt back and forth and I don't have to add the accelerometer separately. It also has another few sensors in here. I know a lot of these boards you can add like wake words and things like that. So I remember me and Sean doing a project like that in the past. So that's like perfect for this. For Raspberry Pi, I have another one of my digits that's over there. I'm not gonna grab that one. That one's huge. My digit 06 uses a Pi and a camera to do facial tracking and does facial recording too. So it's recording while it's working, but it also is running all the other servo systems that I need to run. So I feel like I'm a bigger fan of microcontrollers because you can do a lot more, a lot simpler. But when you want to go to like big AI systems, you have to use like a Raspberry Pi. And if it gets crazy enough, for my AI system for Orbit, I have to use the NVIDIA board because I'm using facial recognition and I have the built-in AI system into the NVIDIA board. So I'm pretty much making Orbit its own entity all through the NVIDIA board. But when you go through a project, you have to think of what boards you want to use, look up the boards, and then figure out what you want. And something I have to do constantly, because I've been told this by my own cohorts, I think of a robot and I want it to do everything. I want it to be able to like sing, dance, have these servos move, have these servos move. If you look back at my Instagram, you can see how like the original digit 00 is compared to this digit. The original digit, I wanted to have pincers, like an ant, like a little bug. I had the antenna moving back and forth. That's a whole bunch of moving parts that later on became really noisy and just too much. Eventually, I just went for this design for the fact that it's very simple, it can do everything I want, and it's extremely cute. Like, look at it, it's adorable. So don't be afraid to chop down your idea and just to get it to do like simple stuff. Like it may start off super huge and super big where you want it to do everything, but then you realize it can't do everything. So you have to bring it down to like simple. So I usually go for like 1 to 2 to 3 things that I want to keep as like the main thing. Anything else can be cut out later. So if I want to make a robot that like drives around my apartment, but I also want to add all this other stuff, like it can like brush things or something along those lines. I'll have to cut off all that stuff eventually and just focus on it driving. If I can get it driving first, then I can add on to that. Deciding when we made our first built programming computer. So, like you have to think about all the type of things when you're working on projects, which is great. Don't be afraid to mess up, and don't be afraid to take a back seat and just work on stuff. Also, again, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like some people that have time and stuff like that. Like I know a lot of people are probably in my DMs asking me for help for stuff, and I'm just like I said, I'm scared of my DMs. That's why I'm like doing live stuff now. People that ask me, but yeah. Oh, for people who are just joining, but keep forgetting people keep joining. I'm so used to just rambling on. I'm working on a crawler system for Digit. I'll show it again for Fusion. This is his little foot. I have one that's already built. I'm not sure if this is going to work. This is just me testing things out. Like I do a lot of prototyping and just testing and have entire days based upon testing a concept. That's what I'm working on right now. What do you believe is the most exciting development in robotics right now? Oh, there's two questions here. Oh no, it's that one. The most developing thing in robotics, that's hard. It's super hard. I heard Microsoft is working on this like whole like nano computing system, which is pretty cool because that means it can be like a supercomputer you can just have, which is extremely cool. But then there's other stuff like that as well. That's exciting. What else? It's hard. There's a lot of humanoid robots, and I know they're becoming a lot more like normalized, which is kind of nice. But I don't know. That one's hard because robots can do a lot of different things. I'm more excited for the technology more than the design because now the NVIDIA are working on smaller chips and a lot of microcontrollers have AI chips built in. I think that's a lot more exciting because then you can make your robot a lot more responsive and to do a lot more. One of the ways I end up thinking about this and something that can help a lot too, for people who love Marvel films, Iron Man is a perfect example. If you watch Iron Man and you try to break down his suit in your head, it works, but it doesn't work. So everything is powered through the arc reactor, but you have to think it's not just one Raspberry Pi that's piloting the entire suit. He has to have a whole bunch of like microcontrollers for other stuff. That way, when something is broken, everything else still works. So I have a theory that he has a microchip system designed each base of his parts. So like if a glove goes off or offline or whatever, it doesn't affect the entire robot or the entire system. I've had systems work out this, and this happened with Orbit recently too, because I miswired them. One time I had a servo wire plugged in backwards, and it stopped my entire system from working because of that one system problem. But if you had everything wired differently with different microcontrollers just being powered by the same main system, or even talking to each other through like ESP now, then you wouldn't have that issue. You'll recognize when it doesn't work, but like if it doesn't work or gets destroyed, it won't shut down your entire robot. So yeah, sorry, little tangent there idea. The emerging trends in robotics people are talking about, I actually don't know the emerging trends. I build robots and I pay attention to what's happening, but like there's so much that's happening in the industry of robotics and technology all the time that like by the time I actually think it's of interest to talk about, it's already like secondary news, or like people just don't care about it. Yeah, it works. So a lot of things could be happening and things along those lines. Crab bot legs moving right. See, crab bot legs are really good for this mechanism here, because this robot, if I did make it, it's currently not wired up, but like as you can see, it can move a certain way. This system is perfect for a crab robot because it's designed to walk forward and back. And if you make a crabs usually are looking like forward as they go sideways. You can easily add like an LED eye to this, like right here in the middle, and make sure it's not touching these legs. And it'll just like crawl that way or back and forth, even tank drive. So like, you know, ideas for that. If you want to make your crab robot, but that would be amazing too. I've seen a lot of biomimicry and like a whole bunch of research robots that are based upon that. There's this one that actually is a crab, and they use it to study other crabs as they go through their migrations, which is really cool. Biomimicry is my personal favorite when it comes to like robotic stuff, which I know I don't like humanoid designs, but like robots that look like birds, robots that look like crabs, robots that look like fish to better interact with stuff, it's just, I love it. It's super cool. I'm always going to hype it up. I will be the robotic hype man forever. That's just how I work. This part's not, oh, I didn't clean it out. Currently, I'm still taking out some of the supports out of these parts. But yeah, if anyone wants to have any other questions, I'm happy to answer. This was definitely my Professor Oddity time to talk to people. But there's a whole bunch of stuff about that I'm going to be definitely working on in the future, and it'll be super cool, I hope. Of course, I want to be doing more videos on it and stuff, and doing a lot more blog write-ups, and doing different designs and stuff. Like I know when I do my B design, I'm going to release those files. And Orbit's pretty big, also because a big part of Orbit is that they may have aluminum. I have to talk to another one of my friends to see if I want to like publish that and make that like an open source huge project. But I happily make the one thing I always try to do if I have the time and stuff is I do my best to post the circuits that I built. So like the circuit that I built with the controller system and using the Adafruit Feather system, I make that into write-ups and stuff so someone else needs it, they can find it. Because one of the things that frustrates me as a maker sometimes is when I'm looking for stuff online and I find it, but then like it's super old, so it doesn't work anymore. So I have to like figure it out as I go. I had that problem with my robot. I don't know what it was called. It's my roller robot that uses the shower board and the camera system. But it's on my profile, my Digi profile, if you want to find it. I had a hard time finding that and making that work, so I had to literally go and pick it up. Are sentient robots possible? Maybe. Yeah, question mark. See, here's the thing. Sentient robots are a very tough concept to grasp and like a lot hard thing to talk about for the fact that we really don't know what sentient is. Like, how do you describe someone being alive? How do you describe sentience? You can't go to a person and be like, hey, what is sentience? That doesn't work. When it gets to a point where I think we can be capable of that, yes. What would that look like? I am unsure. Personally, my personal rule, and this is why I just treat my robots as robots, I would love the concept of my robot eventually becoming sentient and like talking and stuff. But here's the thing. I don't know if it's sentient unless it tells me it's sentient. If it tells me it's sentient, even though it could be lying, I am foolish enough to be like, okay, sure, you're sentient. You're now a person now. I'm going to treat you differently now and try to keep you charged and keep you working. Can it develop feelings? Probably so. I mean, a lot of the time, if you think about it, robotics is just trying to simulate stuff that we see around us with plastic and metal. But 110%, I would say that in the future it is possible. It may be right around the corner. We just don't know it yet. Besides, that's going to become a weird thing because then you got to go into politics about it. Like, what rights do they have? Are they still going to be like owned by the manufacturer? Like, how does that work out? It becomes a whole other bag of problems that we've seen sci-fi movies talk about constantly. So, you know. Let's just not go with war with robots, you know. Let's just not do that. We'll just keep that like, you know, as a thing that we will not be doing. Almost done with the second foot. Working on the feet for a new crawler robot for everyone who's wondering. I'm currently working on it now. I'm almost done with the second foot, and then waiting for the body to print out, and then we'll give it a full-on test and see if we can actually just to see if the servo movements are cool, because I'm going to have to go into programming later. I am not programming on stream. Programming is something I have to have full focus for. I'm telling you that now. Watching me program, boring as heck. Like, headphones have to be on. Lo-fi girl has to be on my other screen because me and her are work partners at that point, and a lot of coffee. But yeah, currently almost done with the second foot now, which is pretty nice. But this is pretty much how most of my day kind of goes. I just kind of like work on my projects, give updates to people, check in with my coworkers, answer emails, and figure out what's the best way of like moving forward throughout the day. If I want to like make content, if I want to record stuff. I still have to record stuff with Orbit because I only have a few minutes of video of him outside with me. I kind of want to take him somewhere and get more video. I was thinking about taking him to, like, I live in LA, I'm LA based. So I was thinking about taking him to the beach because he has a whole bunch of, he has treads. So like in theory, maybe he can like roll on the beach, but I'm not sure how that well that would go. Plus if he stops working at the beach, I'm gonna be really annoyed. Yeah, Lo-Fi Girl is a very polite coworker. Yeah, Lo-Fi Girl is like the best person to work with, honestly, because I feel like it keeps me focused sometimes. Because if I like look up and I see her like studying, I'm like, I just gotta do it too. So if anyone knows what Lo-Fi Girl was working on, please let me know, because like she's been studying for years. I don't know what she's studying for. Like, is it a doctorate? It gotta be a doctorate at this point, but like a doctorate in what is the question? Like, like I feel like the girl needs a vacation, or like tells us what she's mastering in, because like that notebook and that study habit she's been having, she prepared for something. Also, because I'm here, I get to ask you guys. This is our first time doing this on like Instagram and YouTube, but like, would you guys prefer like Twitch later in the future? Would Twitch be a better option for you? Because I watch Twitch sometimes too. People see in my background of people doing stuff, and I sometimes work while I'm doing that. A screwdriver is like one I got a while ago. I think my dad gave me this one. Nice. It can like transform. Aha! 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 Yeah. My favorite is still the small one though. It's called the Wow Stick. I've never read that until just now. It's called the Wow Stick. But this one's my favorite one because it has a little light when you screw stuff in, and it's just really useful. Or TikTok. Oh yeah, also I'm on TikTok too. Do you guys think lives do better on TikTok? I don't know. Yeah, it's called the Wow Stick. I didn't name this. I just, yeah. All right, so second foot's pretty much done. I'm going to test it really quickly. I'm going to plug it up. We're going to see if it can move correctly, and if it does, then we're one step closer. Oh, it's not plugged up. Sorry, that was embarrassing. Oh, okay. This one is moving better. Okay, they're both moving now. Yeah, so like we have feet now, which is nice. So I have to add several here later for the side to side, but it can go up and down pretty well. Let's just backwards. Hold on. There we go. I'm gonna have to go into the programming and fixing it, of course, but like that's how originally they're going to be. Somewhat like this. In theory, I kind of like how this one shows like how high it folds up, because it's going to eventually have to fold way up to fit on digit correctly. So like a good example. Give me a digit. That's why I like the small one so much. I can just take them off. So like if it would do like on digit, it'll be something like this. So it will have to like go way up for it to still be wearable and not get in my way, and then be strong enough to like hold up the body and crawl correctly. So this one is super small. So like I'm not sure how much this one weighs, but I can look into that later. But the idea is for something like this. Looks cool, right? Looks good. But then I'll go like this, and they'll like crawl on the floor a bit, you know, just in case. You know, I may need to go full sci-fi one day and have a robot, you know, save me or something, or crawl over and hand people messages. I don't know. I just like making cool robot stuff, man. It's just fun. This is the life I live. This is my life that I chose to have. It's fun. But yeah, okay, so these two are done. So we have that finished. Now we're just waiting for the other part. Let's see how my printer is doing. Where is my printer? 62%, not too bad. Probably done sooner than that, but yeah. Looks good. Looks good. We're getting somewhere. I guess as the hand stuff is done, we'll go to Fusion and start messing with Fusion a little bit more. Give me a second. I'll have to do some stuff. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna have to put something in the back for it to hold up later. Let me see if my other digit files, L digit, digit micro, so many digit files. You know, ironically, my most designed, or at least my most well-designed model so far has been my bubble pipe. Like, here, I'll show you guys. My bubble pipe came out so nicely, but it was like my most detailed like design I think I've done, and it took me forever. Like, it looks simple, but like, let me see if I can take off the construction. Oh, that's all of it. Like, this is the first bubble pipe. I still have this pipe too. It's like on the corner of my on my shelf. But I had this design for the bubble blower to be sitting in the middle, and then the bubbles would be down here to be attached. Very sci-fi, but like, it was a great design. Still one of my favorite designs. I just had no need for it, and I need to make it smaller because it's so big right now that it's kind of annoying. So I'm working on making it smaller. Let's see. Um, yeah, so just showing off that. Let's see. I'll get back to catting out. If anyone have any more questions, please ask away. Like, I'm still here to answer some of your questions that you've been wondering. So ask away. I have nothing to hide today. Well, I have a lot of things to hide, but I have nothing legitimately to hide currently. I'm gonna have to change that. So I like this part, but I'm gonna have to change it because I had to screw in some screws in weird places. So what I'm going to do is make a second copy of it. Turn these off really quickly. I'm going to edit this by going to mesh, modify, convert mesh. Boop. Let's convert it. Doop. And then what I'm going to do is edit this. Solid, click this. You should make it play saxophones and blow bubbles. I've thought about that. I talked to a few people about how to upgrade it. Saxophone's a good idea, though. I like that idea. I may do that. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. Let's see what else. I wanted to do more LEDs as it blows out bubbles too, to like make it more colorful. Maybe do stuff like that. Do I ever collaborate on makers on projects? Yes. People I've collaborated the most with was of course Sean. Sean's like my maker bestie. Maker bestie. But I collaborated with Becky before and some of my other maker friends. Collaboration is kind of weird for me because as weird as it sounds, I love to make stuff. So like at this point, it feels like a love language for me. So for me to trust to collaborate with you, I have to have like trust in you as a person. So a lot of people, I don't just meet and collaborate right away. I have to like know you for a bit. I have to like talk to you, hang out with you. We gotta go see a movie, stuff along those lines. And then usually I'm like, cool, yeah, you're pretty cool. Let's collaborate. Because I've had too many situations where I want to collaborate with a person, and then for some reason they ghost or they just get uninterested in the project, and then I'm just sitting there with like an unfinished project, and it's super annoying. So like, it's very much schoolyard-ish when it comes to it, where like I have to know you well enough to trust you to collab, because I don't know you well enough not if it doesn't work out or it falls through and you lose interest. So I think me and Sean have it the best because he will come up with some crazy. This is loading right now. He'll come up with some crazy program stuff because his brain is 110% programming. And he'll be like, "Hey, do you want to like maybe work on this thing with me?" And I'm like, "Sure. What is it?" And he'll come up with some crazy program thing. And I'm like, "Cool. Yeah, I can build something for that." Best example was our first Digit Brain, because Digit Brain was on the NVIDIA board, which is connected to my laptop over there. That was his first idea, but he did all the programming for that. Like, he figured out how to make the Docker system talk to the Olama system and the Piper TTS. That's all of his stuff. All I did was make the robot and then copy his homework. I had him explain it to me later, of course, because I had to learn. So like I didn't do all that. I had him explain it to me afterwards. Now I have an understanding of how it works, but like I couldn't have figured that out by myself. at the same time, it was so difficult that if for some reason it was somebody else who just got frustrated and they just gave up, that would have been like months of work down the drain. Because it took us like 2 months, like literally 2 months, to like figure that out. But even if it's like a hardware thing, like I worked with Becky, and Becky's made me some really cool stuff to help me figure out robot stuff. But of course, like Becky's amazing. If you haven't met Becky yet, go see her stuff. She's amazing. Follow her. But yeah, I do collab with people. I know them very well. So yeah, collaboration is very like, I will do it, but like I have to know you. I can't just meet you off the street and be like, oh, I love your work. You want to collab? And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Like, sorry. So this is good because now I can have the servo thing there. This is designed for another servo. As you can see with these two holes here, that's why I had to move that. I probably just close those holes now too. Now I'm here. I'll just get rid of this other two. I already know I'm not the best at Fusion 360. I just know how to use it. But a friend of mine named Travis had me hooked on watching these people who do like competition Fusion 360 programming. And it's super fun to watch them, but after watching them, it made me realize that I have no idea what I'm doing. But yeah, Fusion is a pretty smart one. I can just delete these things and it kind of knows what it's doing. So like now these are designed for the servos that I have, which is perfect for this. Though I do like to make them a little bit prettier if I can stare at them later. It's like that one's one. And then I can easily mirror this. Boop. It's like the mirror plane over this direction. And new body. And boom, secondary leg. How was meeting and spending time with Adam Savage? A dream come true. That was actually ironically one of my personal goals. I haven't gotten to work with Adam on any like collaboration project. I was lucky enough to get invited to his workshop and show him my work. But Adam was an inspiration because I used to watch Mythbusters on Discovery. So like I 100% love his work, and as he's become more of a maker out of the movie industry and just making stuff, I've just been in love with him more. It sounds weird, but like my one of my old man goals is to be like old man Adam, you know, when I get older, but it's with my own thing where I get to like work on my own projects and then just share them with you guys and then go to events, hang out with you guys, the whole thing. Like I love my job now, but when it comes to like, I want to say 5, 10, 20 years in the future where my dreads are gray and I have a cool like dreaded beard or something like that, I want to be able to go to these events and show off my work and like talk to people and also inspire people to do their own thing too. Like I want to see people come up with their own ideas and concepts, their own designs that are uniquely to them and that they can love and cherish, and just show me. I'd be happy to see it. Like I just love it. But yeah, Adam is super great. Like literally, nicest man. He's he gets super excited about talking about whatever you're working on. He will happily talk to you about whatever, and just literally like. I don't have many people I look up to in my life, and even as a grown adult, as I am adult, I 110% still look up to Adam. So yeah, that's where I am with that. Yeah, see, I got these two parts together. The rest of the parts are pretty good too. Like the rest of these, I don't really think I need to go into editing them, because they all fit, but I will just try. Oops, let me click that. I will remesh these parts. That way I can convert them into them. That way I can make them pretty and move them over. I'm probably gonna have to have, since I'm thinking quad bot, it's probably gonna have to have at least 6. But it also means I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make the body stiffen, because the cool thing about this design is that he's very loose. Like you can see, he's like extremely loose on my shoulder, and he wraps around my shoulder, especially around this area. Wraps around. For something that can crawl like a hexapod, it has to be stiff. Like you can't have it be. It can't be easily coerced and curved like this because then the legs won't touch correctly and it won't, crawl. It'll like drag itself and it wouldn't look good. So I have to like find a way to design a way around that later. I have a few ideas, but they're all just theories. Robots for everyone. Oh yeah, I'm not sure if you guys know about this. This was an old show when I was a little lad, called Cubics. And it's an entire little cartoon that's all about a city that's filled with robots. And the main goal is like in that world, everyone has their own companion robot. So the whole theme song was like robots for everyone. It's been one of those things I've just been like loving for my entire life. I like the concept of like a world where everyone has like not just a cell phone, but like a customized, specially customized companion robot. Which would be interesting to see how people would design their robots. Like I imagine a lot of people would just take Star Wars like designs, but people who don't, I would like to see like how they would design the robot to look or be shaped like. Like one of the reasons why I haven't turned Digit into a drone, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, make Digit fly next to you and do that whole thing. The reason I haven't done that is because the noise. Because you have to think about it. Drones are noisy. The zzz by my ear all the time. Plus, like I'll have to have like guards around the propellers because if they're moving so fast, they can hurt a person, and I don't want any accidents happening. So like that's why I haven't turned Digit into like a drone thing. And so I'm making a whole separate drone project, which should totally work for that. But yeah. That should definitely work as a fun little thing later. Yeah, a lot of great people up there and stuff like that. Also, don't forget to diverse your circle too, because like there's a whole bunch of amazing people who work on other stuff too. Like one of my favorite makers is Geek Mom Deborah. If I ever need something that's like lighting up and needs to be wearable, I always try to message her and ask for her input. Because she's way better at making things light up than I am. Like my favorite, one of my favorite jackets is my DigiKey jacket with like the clock arm, and that's all Deborah. Like Deborah put that together. I just had the idea, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I can do that." Um, so don't be afraid to diverse your cast of friends of people who are good at different things. Like I'm great at making things move, and I can do robotic stuff. But if you ask me to like program or to focus on like an LED system that's like a custom weird thing, I would point you elsewhere. So yeah, it looks pretty good. The cool thing about Fusion 2 is I can change up the appearance. So like if I want to, I always do this too, just to give it a little bit more extra. Library. Paint. We'll go with glossy. It's fine. So you can just download paints, which I really like, and take this and then change the color of it. I usually do this to like keep an eye on projects and like kind of know what I'm looking at. Because sometimes you don't want to have to think when you look at it. You kind of just want to know instantaneously. So like make that yellow, turn this green. What's another good color? They're all just basic. You got orange? Where's orange? Oh my gosh. Paint was glossy. Metal flake. No, it's all the same colors too. Powder, rubber bump, plastic. Hey, plastic. There we go. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a bit too much like. Let's go with white. Yeah. So like sometimes color coding it kind of works too. That way you can kind of like see what's happening. So like now I can see that like each different thing's a different part, and that way it doesn't like fully blend in all the way. That is a problem I've run into a few times where you get to enough craziness in your Fusion file where it's just like a million different things. So like a good example is like orbit here. So many things are happening in this design that I had to start coloring things where I know what I'm looking at. It's like orbit's head, like it looks like his LED system and stuff, but like I had to like do that to do this. And then of course like down here, over here, the tread system, I had to color it so I can like see what's happening. Because if not, it just looks like a whole bunch of just gray matter, and it just gets confusing really fast. I'm also still debating on how I'm going to like art up Digit. I'm thinking about giving him some more of a construction site design to him, so I'm looking into that. Oh. Apparently, I'm being told that we're over time. My bad, my bad. To end it off, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my first attempt at trying something like this. We want to make this a more normal thing and do this a lot more. If you guys prefer Twitch, TikTok, or whatever, please let us know. Tell DigiKey, tell me. We'll go through it. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. So if that's all, you guys can take care. Have a great rest of your day.